Alright, once again my favorite rankings for premium or V decks, this time for Dark Zone. So let's begin. And remember, this is based on my opinion on their design and playstyle. So you can always have your own opinion yourself as well. But anyway, let's get started. So on the bottom of my list, it's Harry. Design wise is okay, but the playstyle, whether it's V or the original with Magia, I like both of them. Because the original playstyle focuses on Magia, which basically means that you're going to be resending those cards that you called back to Soul. This is something I really like from the Trickery of Pale Moon and extended concept of regular Pale Moon. Basically, it lets you protect your stuff. While the V version focuses around the Magia doll archetype, which focuses around making all the Excel circles into one big Excel circle and basically giving that combined power to that one specific unit that you're going to be calling from your Trickery. And overall, I kind of like it. It's just too bad there's a lack of support for it, hence why it's all the way at the bottom. And then number 4, it's Blade Wings. Now, the V version of Blade Wing is a little gimmicky, especially since you have to soul bind, which I do like, but it's just too bad there's lack of support for it. But when it comes to the original version of Blade Wings, not only that you get to choose soul charge with one of the units on the field, basically soul charging the same card names from your deck, playing very similar to Brufus basically, where you want the same card names from a unit from your field to soul, but I also like the new defensive play style, the recycling, just overall the gimmicks that you can do with Blade Wings in the premium deck. And also Blade Wings are pretty cool as well, especially when there's that Superior Ride Blade Wing Evolve Reiji is here. So overall, I just kind of like the gimmicky ways of Blade Wings. And then number 3, it's Gear Colossus ZTB. Now this deck is very gimmicky, hence why it's only number 3, but I kind of like the design and playstyle of basically constantly binding until you reach your 12th ZTB or Demirgos. Basically the main finisher of the deck, and when all ZTBs are combined, Demirgos goes full power. It's just too bad once again, lack of support for it, but design wise it's just really cool, and in a way all the other generic Gear Chronicle support that constantly focus on binding with ZTB actually works well with the deck. So it goes a bit higher than Blade Wing because there's more support for it. And then number 2, it's Chrono Fang Tiger, whether it's V or the original. The original one focuses on binding, but the V version focuses on less cards in hand. And I kind of like both playstyles, because the less cards in hand, the stronger you get, although you are giving up your defenses for that, but that's the whole point of the original V playstyle, is to finish off everything as soon as you can. While the original one focuses on mainly bind, the higher bind count is, the stronger you get, and I really kind of like that. Especially on the huge resource engine that you have in your bind zone. This is not timely, you are just focusing on what you have with your bind zone. And since this is Gear Chronicle, we still got recycling in the deck as well. And design wise is also cool, introducing Bind Time Dragon as well, and even the strides are cool. And it's still one of those decks I've been attempting to build for a long time but haven't done it. And now, before we go to number 1, honorable mentions. So first off, Lukier. So basically Lukier, I like the design, especially waifu, but the thing is, it's not a very unique Pale Moon playstyle since it's all about superior calling from Soul, and it's mostly with different grades. I do like the strides and the gimmick stuff that you can do, especially with Lukier Reverse, where you can superior ride from the Soul with basically more imaginary gift. But other than that, it's just superior calling from Soul. And then we go to Dudley's, which is basically typical Spike Brother, where you put everything back to deck to superior call them back from deck. But Dudley only made it here because it's cool design, and there's also the reverse unit that basically has you lock for more power and basically return back to the deck, superior call more. But I do like the high amount of power that any Spike Brother deck kind of gets at the cost of your resources. And finally, there's also Alma. Now, I like Alma's playstyle because it focuses on your opponent's soul rather than your own soul, but that's gonna be a problem because you're giving resources to your opponent, and that's the reason why it went to honorable mentions. And I like how they kind of just abandoned that playstyle with Reverse. So in a way, it's a cool concept, but it's kind of abandoned concept as well, since you don't really want to give resources to your opponent, or there's not much benefits of letting your opponent soul charging. And finally, number 1, it's ZTB Chrono Jet. Not only that there's a bit of rewind still with the Chrono Jet, which is the original playstyle, but ZTB Chrono Jet has a lot, especially its cool design. It has Time Leap, it has Binding, it has Recycle, it has all the multi-attack from the Time Leap, which is one of the reasons why it was one of the best decks. And also the strides are cool, especially Heritage, where you can skip your opponent's turn and rewind back to your turn. Even has the Resand stride, and even Gear Groovy that can take basically your previous stride's powers. Just overall cool design that has a lot of things to do for a deck. And also you can stride for free if you use Z. So that's it for my list of favorite Dark State decks. What do you guys think of it? How would you rank them? And what other decks would you recommend? Or how would you rank your lists? I just gave you my opinion, so go ahead and tell me yours. As you can tell, there's a lot of Gear Chronicle and not much Spikes, especially since Spike did not make it to the top 5 since all the Spike decks to me kind of do the same thing. But who knows, I might be missing something and there might be other people who might like certain type of decks, and just remember this is all based on my opinion. But in that's it for this, and see y'all next time for Melonica.